Top of the morning to y'all. It is truly amazing how much one forgets in 7 years. But it is lovely to see your faces, and I hope that you are feeling wonderful. We're going to start in the gray hymnal with number 204. Is that right, Joe? 204, Come, O Sabbath Day. So would you stand as you're willing and able, and we'll do it.
Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Portland. We are not just a community, we're a vibrant, multi-generational family. Here, we celebrate the unique spirit of each of us while working together to create a beloved community and make it feel like home. Whether you're nestled in our cozy sanctuary this morning or tuning in from your couch, we're absolutely thrilled to have you here. So let's make some joyful noise and embrace the magic of togetherness. Just a couple of announcements before we get going. Following the service, I invite you to join fellow congregants for social hour, and that is located in the Fuller Hall, right below this sanctuary. And if you're new here this morning, I invite you to join me for a brief welcome circle immediately following the service over here in our side gallery. This is a great chance to meet some of the leaders in our community as well as some other new folks. And if you're a seasoned congregant and lucky enough to be sitting next to someone at First Unitarian, please make an effort to help them navigate their way to the welcome circle or to the social hour. And one last note, there are copies of the frequently asked questions that the board prepared, and you can get those at the welcome desk. Now let's take a minute to greet our neighbors. I guess that woke everyone up. Now, if you'll join me and Danielle in lighting our chalice. We are Unitarian Universalists. We light this chalice in faith, in hope, and in love.
What a joy to have the bells back this morning. Thank you. I call us into this time of worship today with these words from Adrienne Marie Brown. True pleasure, joy, happiness, and satisfaction has been the force that helps us move beyond the constant struggle, that helps us live and generate futures beyond this dystopic present, futures worthy of our miraculous lives. Pleasure, embodied, connected pleasure, is one of the ways we know when we are free, that we are always free, that we always have the power to co-create the world. Pleasure helps us move through the times that are unfair, through grief and loneliness, through the terror of genocide, or days when the demands are just overwhelming. Pleasure heals the places where our hearts and spirit get wounded. Pleasure reminds us that even in the dark, we are alive. Pleasure is a medicine for the suffering that is absolutely promised in life. Pleasure is the point. Feeling good is not frivolous. It is freedom. Now let us rise as we are able in body or in spirit and sing our next hymn, When the Summer Sun is Shining.
Thank you.
Our responsive reading this morning is by Sarah Moores Campbell. Give us the spirit of the child. Give us the child who lives within. The child who trusts, the child who imagines, the child who sings. The child who receives without reservation, the child who gives without judgment. Give us a child's eyes that may receive the beauty and freshness of this day like a sunrise. Give us a child's ears that we may hear the music of mythical times. Give us a child's heart that we may be filled with wonder and delight. Give us a child's faith that we may be cured of our cynicism. Give us the spirit of the child who is not afraid to need, who is not afraid to love. Now let us join in our doxology, Spirit of Life.
It is our practice to share our offering each week with organizations that reflect our own church mission. This summer, we are focusing on Unitarian Universalist organizations. This week and next week, we'll share our offering with the two Unitarian Universalist identified theological schools, Star King School for the Ministry and Meadville-Lawnmar Theological School. Our UU identity schools play a particular role in educating UU ministers. They also play an incubating role for our evolving theologies in the larger movement. If you'd like to give, here you'll see a QR code that will appear shortly. And if you are online, you can also click the donate button on the Boxcast. And for those of you in person who want to give by cash or check, ushers will be coming by shortly. Thank you for your generosity, which sustains the ministry of the congregation and our partners in the larger community. During our service each week, we take time to hold the prayer intentions of our community. If you are here in person, you can light a candle of intention in one of our galleries to each side, or you can send your online intentions to prayer at firstunitarianportland.org. Our ministers and wonderful lay ministers are here to hold your prayers and provide you with care throughout the week. I have a few parish concerns this morning. Mary Lansing passed away on July 23rd at the age of 92. She spent her last weeks residing at home with 4 generations of family. Mary was a proud member of the church for 62 years. She's survived by her daughter, Melanie, son, Grant, granddaughter, Jessica, and great-granddaughter, Jupiter. If people wish to pay tribute to Mary, she would ask that you keep smiling and cherish life to the fullest. Our member Bill Cunningham's brother, Brian, who had recently entered hospice for advanced cancer, died peacefully on Friday, August 2nd. His wife, Cheryl, his daughter, Leanne, Bill and Bill's partner, Steve, were able to be with him in the end. Bill had the honor of helping bathe and dress his brother's body. A graveside service is being planned for the immediate family, and we hold Bill and Steve and their whole family in our hearts at this time. And I also need to mention that Bill wanted us all to know that his brother is the one that taught him how to tie his shoes. Members Laura Jones and David Livermore asked for your support after the death of Laura's older brother, Brett Jones. Brett died on July 26 at the age of 64 in Laura's hometown of Rome, Georgia. Laura has been with her family this past week as they reflect on happy moments and challenges related to his decades-long struggle with alcoholism and addiction. We hold Laura, David, and their extended family in our thoughts. And a reminder that the memorial will be held for member Benno Phillipson next Sunday, August 11th at 2 p.m. in Elliott Chapel. Benno died on July 23rd at the age of 87. He also, oh no, that was Mary's, okay. So join me in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life, great mystery, God we know by many names, be present here with us. In this moment of gathering, we embrace the warmth of community, celebrating the joys that life brings us as the sun shines brightly upon us. May we find laughter in our hearts and connection in our spirits. Let us hold in our thoughts those who are struggling, who seek comfort in times of uncertainty. May our kindness be a balm and our shared joy a source of strength. As we enjoy the simple pleasures of life, let us remember to uplift one another, to share in fun, and to spread warmth. Together, may we cultivate a spirit of play, finding lightness even in heavy moments. In this sacred space, we honor our shared humanity, and we celebrate the beauty of being together. Amen. Now let's take a few moments of silent reflection together. Now you can remain seated for our next hymn, Filled with Loving Kindness.
Amen.
Our reading this morning is by Mary Oliver. Green, green is my sister's house. Don't you dare climb that tree or even try, they said, or you'll be sent away to the hospital, or of the very foolish, if not the other one. And I suppose, considering my age, it was a fair advice. But the tree is a sister to me. She lives alone in a green cottage high in the air, and I know what would happen. She'd clap her green hands, she'd shake her green hair, and she'd welcome me, truly. I try to be good, but sometimes a person just has to break out and act like the wild and springy thing one used to be. It's impossible not to remember the wild and want it back. So, if someday you can't find me, you might look into the tree. Of course, it's possible under it.
I believe in the Church of Baseball. I've tried all the major religions and most of the minor ones. I've worshipped Buddha, Allah, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, trees, mushrooms, and Isadora Duncan. I know things. For instance, there are 108 beads in a Catholic rosary, and there are 108 stitches in a baseball. When I heard that, I gave Jesus a chance, but it didn't work out between us. The Lord laid too much guilt on me. I prefer metaphysics to theology. You see, there is no guilt in baseball, and it is never boring. Can anyone name the movie? All right. I was worried that this was a soccer town, and I should have gone with Bend It Like Beckham. But that is Susan Sarandon and the 1988 baseball classic Bull Durham. When I started writing this sermon, I almost opened with a quote from a sociologist, and then I realized I risked making a sermon about fun very unfun to listen to. So we'll get to the sociologist. I'll try and make it punchy, but I figured I would start with a little movie trivia. The Church of Baseball. It makes a lot of sense. There is so much ritual in baseball. Just watch a pitcher before he winds up or a player coming up to bat, all the little movements, the superstitious practices they perform before a pitch. People complain about the game being slow, but there's something almost liturgical in the movements. And there are songs, the same ones sung at the same time, some that are universal, and some that differ from stadium to stadium. Is anyone here from Boston? I bet that you know all of the lyrics to Sweet Caroline the way that we all know all of the lyrics to Spirit of Life. And in all of my research on pilgrimage practices, one of the sites of modern pilgrimage that comes up most often is the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. But there's also that other piece to Susan Sarandon's quote. There is no guilt in baseball, and it is never boring. The Church of Baseball is fun. It's pleasurable. There's drama and tension, sure, but it's an easy drama, and it's a tension without a whole lot of consequences. As religious attendance declines in the US, the number of alternatives that people cite as their churches grows. Hiking trails and CrossFit gyms, Soul Cycle classes, science fiction series fandoms, and concerts and music venues. Deadheads and parrot heads and fish fans have entire cultures and rituals around their music fandom, and sometimes local clubs that even perform service projects. So now we're getting to the sociologist. If you ask people who study religion and how religion operates in society, what is taking the place of churches these days, they're likely to give you one of three answers: work, politics, or capitalism. These are the things that scholars see as filling a religious purpose in our modern society. The forces that, for better or sometimes worse, that give our lives structure and meaning. But individual people rarely give those answers in studies and surveys. When people who don't go to church regularly refer to another activity as their church, it's usually something fun, like the Church of Baseball. We don't want religion to be too hard or to cause us too much guilt, especially for folks who grew up in more conservative faith traditions where theologies of sin and suffering predominated, or secular pleasures were prohibited. We have so little free time in our overscheduled, productivity-obsessed lives, and most of us want to spend what little free time we have doing things that feel easy and fun and restful. And that makes sense. I don't blame people. But I've also been very cautious about this trend, because I don't think faith is supposed to be only easy. I think it's really important that we have spaces where we can spend time wrestling with really hard questions about the nature of evil or the causes of injustice. That we have spaces to confront suffering, to hold it and to lament, and spaces where we can practice being in community with people who disagree with us. So to Susan Sarandon and my CrossFit-obsessed friends, I might say to give an organized faith community another try, knowing it won't always be fun, but it will be deeply meaningful. But here today, as I look out into the sanctuary, I see a group of people who are already leaning into the hard parts, who are sticking this out through pain and grief and anxiety and heartache. Church is hard right now. We are in the middle of a congregational conflict that's causing a lot of hurt and confusion on all sides. And the way forward doesn't feel easy, quick, or clear. And that's okay. It's okay for things to be hard, and it's okay to say, this feels really hard and I wish that it didn't. We can hold that together. And I think that it's work that is deeply worth doing, but we don't have to pretend like it isn't difficult. And if you're new here or you feel more removed from some of the internal conflict, I imagine things might still feel really hard right now. I see folks out here who are writing letters and supporting You the Vote and working to save our democracy while your friends are vacationing or spending their Sundays on the river. I see folks who are struggling to figure out how to support an end to the ongoing violence in Gaza while still pushing back against anti-Semitism in the US. I see folks who show up to provide care and send cards to members of our community struggling with loss and illness, even when those losses and illnesses might be triggering painful memories or recent fears for you. I know this to be a congregation that doesn't shy away from the hard stuff. These are difficult and tense times to be a human on this planet. And being part of a community that's committed to confronting those difficulties rather than just escaping from them is not always easy. So today I want to acknowledge that we are doing hard things together. And I want to suggest that we can and should also do some fun things together. We can be a church seeking justice and holding grief and striving to build the beloved community, and also be a church that likes baseball. I think that we have to do this, and I mean not baseball necessarily, but some kind of play and pleasure. It sounds really trite or even silly and naive as I am saying it, to get up in this pulpit and ask you to plan some game nights together, or start a kickball league or an art class, or go to karaoke or have a potluck. But I am doing it. I am asking you to have a game night. Literally, I am serious. Please go have some fun together. There is growing scientific evidence of the benefits of play and the importance of fun to our well-being. Catherine Price, who wrote a whole book about the science of fun, defines play simply as doing things purely because you enjoy them without caring too much about the outcome. Art, sports, games, puzzles, music, dancing, fishing, swimming, just hanging out and telling stories with each other. These are all forms of play. When we play, we are physically healthier, our blood pressure decreases, we're better at problem solving, we're less reactive, and our mental health improves. Stuart Brown, a physician and founder of the National Institute for Play, says, "When you see animals and humans who are deprived of play, they are fixed and rigid in their responses to complex stimuli. They don't have a repertoire of choices that are as broad as their intelligence should allow them to have, and they don't seek out novelty and newness. So if you look at the human situation, at least for the last 200,000 years or so, our capacity as a species to adapt appears to be related significantly to our capacity to play. He asserts that play is associated with the ability to regulate emotions, establish empathy, and live with trust with one's companions. I don't want to put too fine a point on it, but those seem like potentially useful tools in the work of conflict transformation. And if you're less scientifically minded and tend more towards the theological, there are no shortage of theologians who assert firmly and confidently that we were put on this earth to play. We don't need any scientific studies to justify our desire and need to experience rest and pleasure. Jewish and Christian thinkers point to God's delight in the act of creation and God's act of resting as evidence that time spent in rest and play and joy and creativity are divine. Hinduism has the concept of Leela, which asserts that creation is an outcome of divine playfulness. Theologian Brian Edgar goes so far as to write that play is the essential and ultimate form of relationship with God. Embracing fun, pleasure, and play recognizes the inherent worth and dignity of each person beyond any utilitarian purpose. It is a recognition of the mystery and miracle of our existence and asserts that meaning is found beyond what can be measured or accomplished. Scientists and theologians alike see play as completely fundamental to our lives. It is a key developmental stage in children, a basic building block of our human personalities. And yet it is defined precisely by its purposelessness. And I find this to be such a beautiful combination. We learn to be human by engaging with one another without a particular outcome in mind. It's an idea that is so deeply rooted in freedom and possibility and creativity. Play takes us away from an agenda, from a presumed or desired outcome. And through play, we learn how to be in relationship together again, in relationship defined by pleasure, imagination, and open-mindedness. In this way, play can make for an ideal starting place for transforming conflict, building the beloved community, and beginning again in love. Play is a starting point, but it is also useful in helping us find our end point. Because if we aren't making time for play and fun and ease, we can get a little too used to things being hard, right? We can get so used to patterns of conflict or the grind of capitalist culture or the reality of systemic injustice that we don't know how to recognize when we're through it. Author and activist Adrienne Marie Brown, who I quoted earlier in the service, is a big proponent of the importance of pleasure in justice work. She said in a recent interview, "We're socialized to think we constantly have to be looking elsewhere for pleasure. So we're running around not satisfied, not satisfiable, no sense of what that would even be like. And in our justice movements, that's not a good look, because if we have no idea what it feels like to be satisfied, we won't know when we win. We need to be satisfiable. We need to know what that feels like," she says. In times of conflict, we can't go back to the way things used to be, and we don't want to be stagnant, stuck where we are. We have to find a new way forward. We need to find a path towards a place that we have never been before. And because we've never been there, it's going to be hard to recognize when we arrive. So we need to know in our bones what good feels like. And that means practicing it now in ways that may feel small or frivolous, but that are deeply real. Think about the last time you just felt pure joy, that laughing out loud, losing track of time, totally absorbed feeling when you're doing your very favorite thing with your very favorite people. That's the feeling of freedom. And we need to experience it enough that we recognize it when we encounter it. Play, fun, and pleasure are powerful forces, creative, liberatory, healing, and community building. Play, with its aversion to productivity, reminds us of our inherent worth and dignity and the inherent worth and dignity of one another. It reminds us that we are deserving of joy and pleasure for its own sake. Play reminds us that we are co-creators of an undetermined future, capable of imagining and adapting in ways we hadn't thought possible. When we share and play and fun together, we know what it feels like to be free, to be in right relationship with one another, to be satisfied. These are not frivolous things, friends. So let's keep doing this hard work, this hard and holy and good work. But let's also make space for joy, make space for fun, make space for play. Let this be a community where we share in the rich fullness of life together. May it be so, and amen. Now let us rise as we are able and join in singing our closing hymn, Peace Like a River.
Like
beloveds, in these difficult days, take time to remember that feeling good is not frivolous. As Adrienne Marie Brown reminds us, true pleasure is the force that will help us move beyond constant struggle. For this is the day that you and I have been given. Let us rejoice in it and be glad. Go in peace, practice love, give yourself permission to have a little fun. Amen.